What if I was making a movie on Mr. Nehru? What would you say then? Then it will be okay, then it will be art. I said, फिर तो मैं ज़रूर बनाऊँ. If it was a propaganda movie, why did I have to struggle to make it, to release it and to get it to people? They believe we all got our freedom only because of non-violence, and that too only 3-4 people who then subsequently ruled our country for many years. Today, our position in the world is not only because we've got great diplomacy and a young economy, it's also because we are armed to the teeth. Hi, I'm Randeep Hooda and I just enjoyed a really good chat on ETimes. Tune in.
So hello Randeep, welcome to Times of India.
Thank you.
And I have loved the movie.
Thank you.
So I would like to ask you, अगर अभी वीर सावरकर जी होते तो क्या सोचते?
वो कुछ ना कुछ तो मुझे तंज में कुछ बोलते, सरकाज़म में 100%. पर मेरा ये मानना है कि जो तालियां जो पड़ती हैं पिक्चर ख़त्म होने के बाद, उनकी जीवनी देखने के बाद, तो शायद कहीं ना कहीं वो मेरे सर पे हाथ रखते और मेरी पीठ थपथपाते और मुझे बोलते कि थैंक यू फॉर चेंजिंग द नैरेटिव ऑफ माय सैक्रिफाइसेस.
I read a very beautiful quote that history doesn't seem like history if you are living through it. And when I was in theatre, I lived. And when I came back home, I did a lot of research on whatever I saw. So I want to know from you, because for you, though, it is a journey.
Well, that was the purpose of me making this movie, because I was so angry at the injustice that happened to not just Mr. Savarkar, but the whole armed revolution. And the purpose of any art is to raise questions and curiosity. And I'm glad that you've done it. And it's like people all across the country and abroad, I can't even open my inbox because there's so much, it gets flooded and my phone hangs. And people not only writing just a good movie, but writing essays on it. And I went to Savarkar Sahab's birthplace in Bugur, and they have a smarak there, so the person who was looking after it and guiding me around, he says, हमारा इक्का दुक्का किताब बिकता था सर, पर जब से आपका पिक्चर आया हमारा लाख से ऊपर चला गया.
Wow,
so that was, and it was a limited release, and it came at a time with it being branded a propaganda film because of the timing of the election, and people declaring it a flop even before it released, and reviewers not reviewing the film but political nature of the film rather than the film itself. So it was a lot of forces almost that were against this movie. Like I had problems getting a censor certificate, I had problem releasing it, and I wanted to release it last 15th of August. So all these problems that it went through. But I feel now that people have taken over the movie, like yourself, who've loved the movie, and the word of mouth is what is sailing us through. We are just about the same figure as the day we opened, on a day, on the third week, Tuesday or something. So I'm very, very glad, and people had seen me as an actor, in which regard I paid the least amount of attention to me as an actor in this movie, but people had not seen me as a filmmaker. And I've also sneakily gone, and I get so many messages of people that there is applause at the end of the show, like a theatre performance.
Correct.
And I have never heard in my lifetime of that happening, and that just gives you goosebumps and makes you so grateful, and you know that it's accepted, because I broke a lot of form.
Correct.
I break the fourth wall, I break the form of how you tell a biopic. I almost get it a thriller play pace. A lot of black and white footages in it. So I tried a lot of experimentation with music, which was done in France, background music, and putting a rap song done by Sambata, the Marathi rapper from the Pune slums next to the thing. So I tried a lot of new things, and I was very skeptical as a filmmaker whether, the so-called Indian audience, which watches only masala films, so to speak, will accept this. But when you watch, I've stood in corners in cinema halls, gone and watched it, and when people are watching it with rapt attention, nobody's eating popcorn, you know, and people are crying, laughing, clapping, and in the end you feel like, "Arey, did they get it? Did they?" So it's so silent, and all of a sudden it erupts in an applause, which is just so grateful and heartening. I was an accidental director, but I think मुझे खून मूल लग गया.
But I'll tell you, you used a right word that probably it's not a masala movie, but it is a lot of entertainment and engaging. It was, Veer Savarkar ji and his wife wala scenes. I wanted to see more. I said, "Arey, mile or mile." Even you believe in that, and you have mentioned this, that there is no attempt to whitewash anything from the history. So एक ट्रेलर या टीजर आने के बाद जो लोग कहते हैं कि प्रोपोगेंडा है या ये है वो है, they have not even seen the movie. So how does it feel? Because यहाँ पे I can't even ask you how does it feel like an actor, but writer, director, actor.
Yeah. So first of all, there has been a narrative which us Indians have been made aware of, and that is our history.
Yeah.
So when I attempted to make this movie, a lot of people said that you should not get into it. You'll be branded as a right-wing filmmaker or a Sanghi actor and all those kinds of things. And I said, what if I was making a movie on Mr. Nehru? What would you say then? Then it'll be okay. Then it'll be art. I said, फिर तो मैं ज़रूर बनाऊंगा. So this whole rebellious nature of mine to take this head on by the horns, and it was. I knew there will be resistance. I knew there will be a whole thing. People are going to fact check it because they don't want to believe it. They believe we all got our freedom only because of non-violence, and that too only 3-4 people who then subsequently ruled our country for many years, then their progeny and stuff like that. That is what history is. So to challenge that narrative in itself was always going to have that, right? So, but I'm glad that some of these trollers have seen the movie and then gone and read more about it and found the truth. There is, obviously, I have taken some cinematic liberties in the movie, which you have to take because I'm telling 53 years story in 2 hour 50 minutes. But all the dialogues, all the happenings, I have read it at one place or the other. Usually, very rarely have I used something which I've read in only one book.
Okay.
Or in one place. I usually said, okay, let us have it's in two places.
Multiple versions, yeah.
If it's in two places, then I can, But there are a couple of things that I read only in one place, and that was very good for my screenplay. And it was actually saying more than what I would have taken 5 scenes to say. So I chose that. So that was a big thing. I mean, even on the trailer. And it was so widely spread. So, I mean, it was almost a campaign against this movie. To fact check it, to call it propaganda, bullshit. And Thursday night itself, there were memes and there were articles that were made, which is the opens to 17 lakhs. I also woke up in the morning and I was like, what? And then my heart sank. Then I called the distribution team and they said, no, that's not true. I said, then why are people so hell-bent on calling it that? But whatever, his life was also tough. Mr. Savarkar was not given his due in his lifetime and even after it. But look at us today.
Yeah.
In 2024, so many years after 1947, it is his ideology of an all-encompassing civilizational identity, Hindutva, is the most prevalent, biggest and the most powerful ideology today.
Yeah.
Similarly, since nobody was able to keep him down, nobody will be able to keep his movie down because it is in itself, and that is why I wanted to make it in very good quality. I said, okay, even if it takes more money, it takes more time, I made sure the cinematography was out of the world. I had a great cinematographer, Arvind Krishna, who actually took a lot of brunt of my own madness and being hungry, and did that. Then I had great costume designer in Sachin Lovelekar. Every thread every button is of that era. And then the production design, all those instruments, the back, the sets that we created, we shot all of England here, and also then went to Kala Pani and all that. So that everything, the makeup, I cast people who looked, first priority was they should look like the real character. The acting mein kara lunga. Right? So that, and then with Parag Mehta, we went through people. I went through 3 Gandhis. I shot with 2 other Gandhis, and then finally got Rajesh Kheda in, and I said, okay, now he's more like it. Similarly with other actors, and then makeup design by Renuka Pillai, taking pains of, you know, how I do my own characters. So she's worked with me for 10 years. So how we sculpt our characters. So we went down to every character, you know, and did all that. So and the background music then is done by a guy called Matthias Duplessis and Sandesh Sandalia. He again was very tough to, you know, get to, but he finally did it. And now we've got a score which is Indian also, international also, and it speaks at a scale. I've got a black and white print as well, which I want to release soon in the cinemas at select theatres. So I made sure that the quality of the movie, nobody can point fingers at. And if that is the case, the rest is history. He stood the test of time, so shall my movie, and that was the thing. And I'm so grateful for the audience to just take it on. People are propagating it like it was because of the historical nature and the length and a lot of English in it, and a lot of because I didn't want my English characters to be speaking to kya kata hai and all that. They lessen my villains. So all those things in place, IPL being there, and so we had a limited release, and because we kept shifting the release date, the whole campaign couldn't kick in, the marketing campaign. So word of mouth has taken it further, and I think it will take it on even further. I don't see it slowing down in the near future. And then of course it's going to have a wider OTT release, which is then going to get everybody's goat.
I won't use the word struggle. You had efforts in each division of the movie, but you also had your own struggles with censor board. So when you look back today, you know, when you're sitting and we're having this conversation, when you look back, how will you define that entire journey?
Well, it was, it's like Mr. Savarkar took me from just being an actor and made me all these things, made me world-wise almost. So that will be my journey, and there are so many times I have thought this is the end, I can't do it anymore, but I kept at it. But now when I hear the applause at the end of the movie, there is nothing that I can really remember out of the struggle, and it is just like I sit down there in the corner and go, whew, like a big sigh of relief. And that is the reward, and I think when you're in the struggle, you can look back at it when it has fruitified or become successful. You can look back at it and almost have a sense of humor about it. So I am over those struggles. I just have to still wean myself off anti-anxiety pills and sleeping pills, which I had to take because I couldn't sleep because I was always so hungry or so stressed out. So now it's a process of letting go. People have taken it over. Now it's their film. Now I can let it go and maybe go for a well-deserved holiday/honeymoon. Yeah,
I think that part you have completely dedicated after you got married. I think you just dedicated yourself to this movie.
Yeah, even before that, and you know, most of the year I had my head shaved, and I used to look like this runt. So I told her, I said, yeah, we can't have our wedding pictures looking like this. You know, what will the children think or what will people think? So when I finished the shooting and I got a bit better, that's when we decided to go and get married. And it was a very tense situation over there. But I always felt that, you know, you have to give respect to your शादी हमेशा लड़की के घर होती है.
Correct. That was so nice, and you know, all over social media, it was appreciated, and what I liked more was people are also inspired. ये सिर्फ ऐसे नहीं हमारे देश में ही शादी करो, but to stick to the roots.
See, the homogenization of the world is happening, and aping the West has been a phenomenon because of our colonial history.
Correct.
And the world's colonial history. But I think there is a resurgence of self-pride in our own culture, in our own way of life, in our own civilization. Why should we be lesser than others? So that whole resurgence is good, and I'm
As you mentioned, मैंने बहुत सारा कुछ पढ़ा है, देखा है, तो you are into that, you are actually living that character, and when you know जो लोग शायद 90 सेकेंड सिग्नल पे नहीं रुकना चाहते या नेशनल एंथम थिएटर में प्ले करना चाहिए कि नहीं उस पर डिबेट करते हैं, वो लोग ये कहते हैं कि उन्होंने मर्सी पिटिशन फाइल किया, वो पेशेंस इसमें इतना तक नहीं है, दे आर कंप्लेनिंग अबाउट दैट. सो हाउ डज दैट फील?
First of all, I think I've justified it. I put the so-called mercy petitions in the movie.
Yeah.
But they were bail petitions, and he wrote it for many people, including himself. And he used to write in that if releasing me stands in the way of your gesture of goodwill and great generosity, I may be exempted from it. So it really used to, it angered me. And then I looked at him that, okay, they compared him with Bhagat Singh, and Bhagat Singh he had to go to the gallows. But Mr. Savarkar at 27 or 26 or 27 years old, when he went to Kalapani, had 50 years. He was supposed to get released in 1960. And the atrocious conditions that they were kept there, and more than that, he felt that he had a lot to contribute to the revolution, to society, culturally, and he was a great ideologue and a writer and great influencer. To him to be rotting in that cell for the next 50 years was not something that he was totally comfortable with. And he wanted to get out, and he really, I put it out in the movie, that Sam Dam Danda Bhed, दुश्मन को किए हुए वादे निभाए नहीं जाते. And it was unfortunate that even after he was released from Kalapani and he was released from the actual prison, he was kept under house arrest. So I have only one question for these intellectual people. If he was such a Mafi Veer, then why did they keep him in
for so many years,
captivity for 27 years? And same argument I give for my movie. If it was a propaganda movie, why did I have to struggle to make it, to release it, and to get it to people? Why was it not just shouldered by a political party or a thought process? No, because this movie on its own it's my expression of Mr. Savarkar's contribution and struggles, and not only him, so many. That's why I break the fourth wall, and I have these young revolutionaries come and look straight at you sitting in the audience.
Correct.
So that, hey, this is not some newspaper clipping. It's a human. And a little boy looks at you straight in your eye. And that's where people get affected. And I really, like a lot of things, and even Hindutva, which was a big challenge for me to condense and put it in one scene, and not shy away from the fact that he was trying to, in his opinion, at that time, he wanted to exclude the Abrahamical religions. Why? I give the thing. Why? Because if it became a state of war, would they fight for a religion or their country?
Correct.
And I spell it out. And I say it straight to the people. I talk straight to the camera again, and I explain who is a Hindu. So these were very challenging things to bring these big concepts. My movie is a user-friendly manual of the history and struggles of another side, which was not non-violence. एक गाल पे थप्पड़ मारो, दूसरा आगे कर दे. अरे क्यों कर देंगे? पहली बात तो तेरी हिम्मत नहीं होनी चाहिए हमारे गाल पे थप्पड़ मारने की, राइट? सावरकर जी यही बोलते थे कि सशस्त्र हो जाओ. उन्होंने अंग्रेजी फौज में भी लोगों को रिक्रूट किया, एंड आज़ाद हिंद फौज में भी लोगों को रिक्रूट किया. More people who have training in arms, the more strong our country will be. And today, our parliament was inaugurated on Mr. Savarkar's birthday, a new parliament. We have to give Shraddhanjali to his photo and go in. And today, our position in the world is not only because we've got great diplomacy and a young economy, it's also because we are armed to the teeth. We've got the latest weapons in the world, and we are making our own weapons. And this was the vision of Mr. Savarkar vis-a-vis Mr. Gandhi, and in fact more so by Mr. Nehru, who felt that we don't need an army because we are non-violent people.
And Randeep, to conclude this conversation, I would love to know from you that you have your own journey. Probably you're not the ones who have just followed the norms that has been set by an industry. So today when you look back, how do you see, like you have always been honest and upfront, and to be honest also comes with a price at times. So how do you reflect on your journey?
My journey has been very difficult. I came to Bombay to make a show reel so I could go to Hollywood. Really, because when I came to Bombay, there used to be this channel called ETC.
Yeah.
And I used to watch that, and that used to have the promos and songs and all that. And I used to watch it, and I said, hey, I don't fit in any of these. Till I saw a promo of a film called Company. And I just wished it, and I soon, a few months later, I was sitting in front of Mr. Ram Gopal Verma, where my journey started from. So I was very clear that I was not going to be a part of this song and dance affair, which, you know, disrupts the narrative of the movie. Ekdam se break aa jata hai gana. So I was never a big fan of that. And I have gone about through some, of course, not some, much personal suffering to stay on the path of what I feel is my role in cinema, or what I feel cinema should be. But at all times, till now, I have been at the mercy of the filmmakers, and I'm very grateful to all my filmmakers who have chosen me in the past, and they have brought about, or they have seen the potential of something other than I have already done, which is to keep them curious and keep them giving me challenging roles. Is been a big victory for me as an actor. But now I am a filmmaker myself, so watch out.
Thank you so much, Randeep, for this lovely conversation.
Thank
and
you.
congratulations on the success of the movie.
Thank you, my dear.
Thank you.
Thank you.